So I did. And I just shoot arrows. There's no point in shooting arrows. It doesn't do anything, but it's just fun, you know? I just thought it was fun. And I used invisible stay gas. So, forgot about that. Anyway, we're going to continue over to this thing. It's a wharf that I built. And I was going to build like another town here. And the first one I started working on was this clay building. I really don't like it. I'm going to remove it. I need clay. And I'm going to try something else here because I do not like how this looks at all. I'm going to try a completely different look here. But yeah, we just got some junk. And the last beta player, I worked on this in the video because like I knew what it was going to look like, but I don't like the look of it. So it's going to go. And where are we going to go next? We've seen everything. There's a few options. I think that we are going to go ahead to the... I wish I had a boat. No boats? I don't think we have any boats. That's fine. We're going to go to the shore here. There is another place that I've worked on recently. And it is across the shore and down a little bit and into the forest. We're going to see all that in a moment. Oh man, there's clay right here? I didn't even know that. Dang, okay. I'm probably going to forget after I make this video, jeez. I'm going to back up right now, it doesn't matter if I pick up the clay or not, but I didn't know that was there. I really love the Mexican forest, right? I already said it, but I love how it looks. I love the feeling that it gives. Alright, so maybe that seems a little familiar from the beginning of the video. We're going to head this way through the forest. Hopefully it saves daytime. Look at the brown sheep. Is that pink? I don't know. Well, I don't think so. I'm colorblind. I'm always asking that. Alright. I think there's another dungeon right here. I believe so. Not totally sure. A lot of good mining in this area. Lots of good mining in this area. Alright. You can kind of see what we're coming up to here. I'll go up the street. For the full effect. There's the start of a pathway. And I started making a little village here with a consistent theme. I just thought it would be fun. Look, we got these little, you know, wood frame, white wall houses. They're not supposed to be oriental. They're supposed to be like medieval, sort of, or like they're like cheap, put together housing. But I kind of wanted it to feel like an old 2000s video game map. Or like you enter a village and it's kind of like this, maybe it's a shooter game or something like that. I just want it to feel like that. There's not a lot of lights outside. I don't want to put any lights on the outside because I like how it looks at night. But it does pose a problem with monsters. But all these houses are pretty unique in their own way, but they have a very similar pattern. Like that one has a chimney in the back. I don't know if you can see that. It does have a chimney. I'll go up here. Yeah. This is kind of where my stuff is being kept at the moment. We have a good amount of materials in here. Upstairs is just furnaces. So, and then in that house, there's a bed, and that's it. So we go this way, there's two more houses. This one also has a chimney at the end. Very specific chimney design. This one is also 2 stories. Second or first stories, most of these houses are. This, don't really know what I was going for here. I just started building stuff. Started putting stuff together. I don't really know what I want out of this. It looks kind of strange. Like I was gonna have this continue some ways and then like a door to some rooms. And then like this is a door and then maybe there's like a big cool house under here. I don't know. This is a tunnel that goes all the way through. I haven't finished. But I really like tunnels and pathways and it leads to this little valley, which I never knew was here because I never went over here. It's right by my base. You can see from my base, but I never knew this valley was here. So lots of potential. And I'll tell you kind of what I'm thinking. So yeah, nothing in here yet. We're gonna go up this way. That's about where the progress of this thing ends. I'm gonna climb up to the top. Here, actually, I'm gonna go this way first. Yeah, there's this structure here that you saw at the beginning. This is unfinished, first of all, so the base is really ugly. Just it is like this pavilion type deal that surrounds this. The idea is that it is a natural spring. This pavilion's been built around it, and like the spring water comes out here and fills this up. It's very deep, and I use invisible stairs again to limit the flow of the water. It's like this place where this natural spring is kind of coming out, and then I was gonna make it spill out this side and make a waterfall down there and then a river, and then you could build like houses, like a house or two, and then maybe a field by it. I thought that was a really cool idea. I still want to do that, but damn, the cow is loud. We're gonna go this way because the next thing I also wanted to do up here is I was gonna make another pavilion here. A diagonal pavilion, because diagonal shit is cool. I really think so anyways. I don't know if built in this world, so we need to have one. And this overlooks the town, so like there's all the stuff that I have in my town, and you can see this little valley's right here. I didn't even know it was here the whole damn time. Lots of stuff in this mountainous area that I really like. Pretty cool stuff. Alright, I think for this next part, there's one more place that we can visit. And it's not super impressive, but it's something that I was working on. We are going to have to grab a boat, so I'm going to go back to my base here. I'm going to grab a boat and head off to this area that I am talking about. So I guess you can get a look at this. If you haven't seen this part of my world before, you're going to get a look at it right now. This build is forever unfinished. Then we have this main area, which I think is nice. The color scheme's kind of all over the place, but I like it. It's just a lot of different buildings that I wanted to try. That was the first one I built in this town. I really like that one, but it's not a very useful building. This is the first building I made in the world. I had a little survival shack on the spawn island, but I tore that down like the first few nights. This is the first house that I made. I really like this house still. I've seen people recreate this house in the subreddit and like videos and stuff, and it's very flattering. The only change that I made recently is I put this farm field here so I can get more crops. There's a perfectly good path here. Here we go. And onward. Now, I guess I'll show you behind here. There's a massive spruce forest that I've been harvesting over and over and over again. And behind here, I'm gonna walk out in front because it's the cooler side, but behind here, everything is clear. All space is cleared. Every time I needed stone, I would just come back here and mine it away. So there's that. Well, I am kind of excited to start working on this again. I think I might do that on stream. A lot of this world has developed over stream with other people watching, and that's pretty cool. These machines are just test machines. These are like really overly complicated. You don't really need to be that complicated, and this is a device, a block update detecting device that I use in a build over here, if you're not familiar. Well, right now we're going to walk across these two pieces of cobblestone. If that rail that I had over there, when I was standing there, that's where I started the video, had continued, it would end up right here. So that is just a marker to know. I don't really know where I want the rail to end up, to be completely honest.
HR is your complete HR, payroll, and benefits platform where everything works together in one place.
Yeah, lots of empty space out front. I want to put a garden here, an entrance, maybe like a roundabout almost around a central fountain, and then sections of the garden. I think that would be pretty cool. But right now there is the castle. That is a big experiment with gradients. I think it goes pretty dang well, and I will work on it in the future at some point. Lots of projects that I can put my attention into. I really just want to mine as well. I want to just clear out a big space underground. I think that'll be fun. Alright, now we're getting into the Arctic research base. Quick side note, this hill, there's this section of the hill that's kind of sliced up, I feel like this would be perfect for that. I was just thinking, it's so desolate. You come up here and it's like this ancient, forgotten dwarf mine, and this little valley here. It's a project that I wanna get to it at a later date. But right now we have the Arctic research base. Haven't done a whole lot here. I was pretty satisfied with how I left it, even though this building is not finished. I'm so obsessed. Spaces like this. Maybe I'll move there one day. Who knows? It'll be an experience and a half. But that is where we are focusing. I forgot that this was all ice. Yeah, we're going to do a little bit more walking here. But that's fine. So let me talk about something here. The world is 1,189 days old. I'm not really sure if that's accurate. To be totally honest, it's a mod that I installed thanks to my friend Nomite. Gave me this mod, and it should show a lot of the detail in your world that you can't normally access. Like you need an MPT editor to get a lot of this info. It shows a light level, the biomes, the time, and the day. Although I felt like that day was higher in the past. It seems unlikely that I did all that shit in the last 200 or so days. The last world update I made was a world tour, and it was, what was it? None of the stuff that I'm showing you was there. Lots of things to look forward to in the future, by the way. I really like chilling and clearing things out. I've realized that I really like that, you know? That's what I kind of want to do. I want to work on my nether base. I want to work on my castle. There's always going to be something for me to do here. Now, that was behind the Arctic base. If we had continued... if I went that way, straight that way, you would get to Castle Von Spawn. And look, you can already see where I'm going. Dang, spoilers. Jesus. Alright, well, there's not a whole lot over here. But this is there's more land in the back that shows off how cool it is. But I made a lighthouse. As you can see, I made another lighthouse. It's a little more fantasy because it's a little more Gothic up the top, a little more Victorian. It has a more of a peaked roof than the other lighthouse, which is way more practical. And there's a little keeper's house and a bridge. Oh, we're gonna go all the way around here. I really like how this turned out. I don't know what else to put here that would keep things in the spirit of that lighthouse. So yeah, we're gonna come all the way around. I really like this area because it's a big lake surrounded by forest, and like over that way there's some cliffs and some cool things that I think look really good. And lots of potential for, you know, whatever. All kinds of things could be built here. But alright, we're going to dock here. Oh look, there's an entrance underneath. Forgot to plug that up. Okay, we're going to head back up. And here we are. This is the bridge that goes to the mainland. This little island chain here, I mean, it's a single island, but it is a cool. Runs right through the keeper's house, which is just storage, actually. I have valuable items scattered everywhere across this world. We come through here, and then we go to the lighthouse, and this is where you can sleep. It is a nightmare-proof sleeping arrangement. So we're gonna head up to the very top. I love doing lighthouses. I feel like a lot of people try to do lighthouses and they get them wrong. They always decrease the radius by 1 block as they're getting to the lighthouse. And that makes it look really clunky and weird. I try to decrease the radius by like a fraction, and you can't, and if that doesn't make sense, like some of the rings on this lighthouse, if you look, they get a little bit tighter, but they're not as far as their X and their Z coordinates wise, like they don't shrink that way, but around the edges that they do. It's just, if you had a circle tool and you typed in like, oh, I want a circle to be 10 blocks wide, and you did that, and then you said, oh, I want it to be 9 blocks wide, or sorry, and you would just shrink it until you, for your lighthouse, because lighthouses like to get smaller as they go up. That's what a lot of people would do. I would say start with a radius of 10, move to a radius of like 9.5, which just shrinks the circle a little bit, and it makes the transition from the bottom to the top way more smooth. Anyway, that's not much. And now this lighthouse we can actually get inside of. Check this out, we can see all kinds of cool things. Not a whole lot actually, but it is what it is. So I'm going to go out to the bottom, and I'm going to get one last look at the lighthouse, and that is going to be the end of the video. For now, lots of future plans in place for the channel. I really like to produce videos. I want to make more tea time videos as well. I know that a lot of my modern audience hasn't seen a lot of that probably, but it's something that I like. And yeah, this is what I mean about the transition. Like, I have the radius shrink every 3 blocks, right? But from here, it's pretty flat for 9 blocks, but the radius shrinks along the sides every 3 blocks. I hope that makes sense. I don't sound like a lunatic, but I think it really works. It's a nice transition of shape, a nice little cone shape. I feel like that works very well, and I like it a lot. So, yeah. I have lots of plans, I have lots of ideas that I just write down sticky notes and put on my wall here for future video ideas. And I hope you enjoyed this world update. It's been a while, and a lot's happened here. And I have other worlds that I've also been working on. I've been doing a lot, but so I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know what you think about the world and just anything, really. All right. I think I got all this in one take. That's very satisfying. I hope you all have a good day. Monster out.
I haven't really played it much since, so it's safe to say I've never beat the game, and there's still so much I don't know about it. So we're gonna spend 100 days in survival, and we're gonna try and beat the game. We're gonna fight the Ender Dragon, the Wither, and possibly the Warden. We'll see. As badly as I wanted to do this in hardcore, let's be honest, I'm just really bad at the game, and I died way too many times. So yeah, we'll save hardcore for next video. And with all that said, sit back, relax, and enjoy the video. Day 1, I spawned in and immediately hated my world. Relatable, right? Well, let me just say, this was one of the best seeds I could have gotten. You'll find out why soon enough. So as you do on your first day, I started gathering some wood. And here's me failing at making planks. I don't know what I was thinking. But anyway, I got my planks, and then I made a crafting table. And then it was time to start making some tools. So, got some sticks. Started off with a wooden axe, a wooden pickaxe, and then I started chopping more trees. But I was too short to grab this one, and honestly, first glance, the only good thing I saw about this world was there was coal everywhere. So I mined it, and I mined all of it. I found a little bit of iron too, but it was mostly coal. I then made a stone axe, packed my bags, and decided it was time to start our journey into the unknown. Luckily, everything was pretty much ice, so I could just run my way over, didn't have to swim. And I didn't go far. I found an island over here with some berries. Honestly, I didn't know what these were for at the time, and you know, actually, I don't think I still know. So leave a comment down below. So I went one more island over, and I found a chicken. And I was starving at this point, so I sacrificed the chicken and took its meat. Found chicken number 2, and moments later I found another portal. Well, a broken one anyway. So I ran over, quickly made a furnace so I could start cooking my chicken, and then I went and checked out the chest, and it had golden armor. Not only was it golden, but it was enchanted. At this point, I was leaving until just grabbed my stuff and started exploring the rest of the island. And I found some pretty cool stuff, like this thing, but it started getting pretty late, and I still didn't have any shelter yet. I went to the tallest part of the island, which wasn't very tall. I found a couple more chickens along the way, and when I got to the top, I started making some torches with all that coal I gathered earlier. And because I didn't have any shelter yet, I decided to be productive and just cut down some trees. It was going to be a long night, and while I was cutting my trees, this guy just randomly walked up to me. This was my first encounter with a mob, in this world anyway. So I took a couple swings at him, and managed to kill him, and
Hi, I'm Renas, and a little thing I love about the Chick-fil-A chicken strips is dipping them. The chicken strip is a savory, juicy, delicious burst of flavor, but you add onto that the sweet and the tangy that you get from the sauce, and it's just an incredible flavor combo.
Your customer paid for their testimonial.
Unfortunately, he wasn't the only one that wanted to fight. In fact, I almost good fight, and now my health was extremely low, and it didn't help that I kept falling from trees. Here's the point where I realized I never put on the armor. So I quickly threw it on, fought off these zombies, and I started racking up some good XP from this. But now that I had some iron, I went ahead and made a shield, along with my first piece of iron armor, the helmet, because that's all I could really make. And I was so glad to have this, because it was going to make surviving the night just a little bit easier. So I found a couple sheep, but none of them were the same color. And I couldn't even get to this sheep because of all the mobs that just started attacking me out of nowhere. So I left. And fortunately it was almost daylight, so I wouldn't have to deal with them much longer. I ended up going back during the day to try and free the sheep. I say free the sheep, but I just killed it. Anyway, I left the island because there were pretty much no more animals over there. And the next island I went to had some sheep, but again, they weren't the same color. I grabbed this sugar cane and continued exploring, just trying to find as many animals as I could. I needed 3 wool of the same color to make a bed. And I was really starting to think this was never going to happen because I just wasn't finding any more sheep. Until I saw this guy. So I grabbed his wool, went around the corner, and sure enough, there's sheep everywhere. Enough sheep to make a bed, maybe even 2. I continued exploring, and I ended up making friends with this guy. I mean, just look at him. I then proceeded to take out every other animal in my path because I needed food. What I had wasn't going to last forever, and with the animal situation on the other islands, I knew I couldn't pass this up. Do you guys see that? Yeah, that's a village. And I totally missed it. It could have really helped me out early game with the food situation, but I didn't see it. So I continued exploring this tiny cave and decided to settle down in here for the night. The next day I woke up and found some pumpkins not too far from where I was. I also came across another dog / wolf standing in a pup. But the best thing I found was this huge hole in the ground, and when I saw the lava, I knew it was going to be a good place to mine. So I grabbed some of these emeralds that were outside and I found some coal too, and I started mining that until all of it just randomly disappeared. I don't know why. I figured sleeping would probably help with that, so that's what I did. Day 4, I decided to start venturing into the cave, mined some more coal, and had a very interesting encounter with a spider here. Lucky for me, he couldn't get me in this little hole, so I thought anyway. But yeah, I killed both of those guys and started setting up a little bit of a camp down here. That way I could cook all the meat I collected earlier and to smelt some of the iron that I've mined. Once I had the iron bars, I went ahead and made myself an iron pickaxe and iron axe as well. I also found some gold here. I wanted to go into the nether. I set up a chest so that I could store all my junk in there and continue exploring the rest of the cave because I knew I was probably going to have tons of stuff by the time I came back up. And to complete my look, I made some boots. This is when I realized that the legs I put on earlier were binding. Yeah, I had no idea what that meant. So I made some iron legs and then I put them on. And I couldn't figure out why I and found out that you can't take out binding items. So, lesson learned on that one. I thought I'd try and make some obsidian since I knew you needed lava and water. I stumbled across a mob spawner and immediately started getting swarmed by zombies. Oh, and my stone axe picked a great time to break here. So I just had to fist fight these guys and hope for the best. But I did okay. I managed to block myself off and I made an iron axe so I could fight these guys until their child decided to come beat me up. That was the real challenge. I got a couple good swings in. in, and then he started playing games with me. I've never been beaten up by a child like this before. I guess there's a first for everything. So I quickly took out the mob and checked the chest loot. Got some gold bars and some bread and such. The other chest had some beetroot seeds and a golden apple. I then came across this bluish teal stuff, which I had no idea what it was. I started peeking in to see if I could see anything, and I saw this weird creature that was moving, and I thought it was some kind of new mob that I had never seen before. And I went down to check it out a little closer. Noticed it was making some weird noises, but didn't really think much of it, and I decided to mine it to see if it gave me anything. After finding this spider, I went into this little room here, blocked myself off, and then found this. I continued mining, and that's when this fella came out of nowhere. And I was terrified because I still didn't quite understand how the Enderman's mechanics worked. I didn't want to look anywhere near him. As soon as he passed me, I took off running the other direction, which actually led me to more diamonds. It also led me to more of this bluish teal stuff, which I was still so curious about. Took out this mob spawner and gathered the loot, continued running right past these things, not understanding why they were making noise. I saw some like blue fire in the distance, so I went to go check it out, and I guess I made a little bit too much noise because this happened. This thing just started shrieking, and the lights went out, and I was so confused. I had no clue what was going on, what was about to happen. I was lost. So as one would do, I naturally backed up away from it, and everything seemed fine. It was back to normal. I found another one of these chests and looted it. I decided to go a different direction this time, and the same thing happened. It just started shrieking, the lights went dark, they flickered a couple times, but nothing else happened beyond that. So I wasn't really sure what was going on here. And I went back a third time because I needed to know what was happening here. But this time, it was different. I heard something breaking through the ground, and it sounded like someone had just woken up the beast. Then it started sniffing and making all kinds of other weird noises. Keep in mind, I had no idea what I had gotten myself into here. I had only heard about the Deep Dark through a friend. I didn't know what it was about. I didn't know what it looked like. I just knew that whatever it was, this had to be it. So nothing was really happening yet. So I decided to go investigate it further. Honestly, I thought it'd be like any other mob where I can just crouch walk up to it, start hitting it, and it wouldn't be able to touch me. I was wrong about that one. I got several good hits in before it turned to me and started to attack. The first hit got me down to about half health, and for some reason, I started going right back up to him. That second shot sent me back into the other room, and you can see the panic start to set in. I just started putting blocks down everywhere to put as much in between me and him as possible. Not that it would have done anything, clearly, but it seemed like a good idea at the time. I mean, look at this. You can almost tell my hand was shaking just from the way I'm like sorting through my inventory here. But yeah, dude, I was so scared. This was by far the scariest thing I've ever seen in Minecraft. All I could hear was his heartbeat and his breathing, and it sounded like he was right on the other side of the wall for me. He wasn't though, because he couldn't make it through that hallway. But once I settled down, I ran away as fast as I could, and by this point it was day 5. So I did a little bit more mining in the cave and almost died a few more times. I actually got pretty lucky and found some more diamonds and a mob spawner with some chests. So I looted all of that and got out of the cave as quick as I could. On my way back home, I encountered my next challenge, the snow. And it certainly didn't help that I had a creeper chasing me. But yeah, it turns out you need leather boots. Otherwise, you can sink straight down to the bottom of the snow. I didn't want to die, so I just started digging my way through the hills, hoping I would eventually reach grass or dirt, and I could just walk the rest of the way home peacefully. It didn't seem like I was making much progress, so I pulled myself up high enough to have a look around, and yeah, I was pretty much surrounded by snow. And while I was up there, I decided this was the perfect time and place to make a diamond pickaxe. I spent most of day 6 digging myself out of the snow. What direction direction to head. So I just kind of went this way and ended up finding some coal. I ended my day on top of this hill, which had an incredible view of the sunset. Day 7, I still had no clue where I was, but I did make myself a boat, which made being lost a lot more fun. Somehow I ended up back at the island I spent my first day on, and now that I had a diamond pickaxe, I figured I'd mine the extra obsidian and try to finish the nether portal. Once I had it built, I knew I needed flint and steel to actually get this thing lit. The only issue was, I didn't have any flint yet. So I went down to the shore and started digging up the gravel. It didn't take very long before I had my first flint. I took a break to start setting up camp here, so I put down 2 chests, that way I could free up some inventory space. I had 0 cobblestone, so I spent a little time mining some of that. That way I could put down some furnaces. While I was waiting on the iron, I decided to clear out the area. There were a lot of trees, and if I was going to build a house here, I needed space. And it's funny, I didn't actually end up building a house until like day 30, but the work was done. I didn't have to go back and do it, and I had plenty of materials for pretty much anything I needed. And at the end of the day, I had tons of iron available. I started the next day crafting a new shield, a diamond sword, and some iron tools. And then I spent some more time clearing up the area, flattening out the terrain, and just making it a little easier to build on. Before I even built a house, I thought it'd be a good idea to go ahead and set up a fence in case I come across any animals. Spoiler, I never did, at least on this island anyway. I also wanted to clear out the shoreline so that I could start my farm. I knew I needed the crops to be near water, and this seemed like the best place to put it. So I got to work, chopping down trees. On day 9, I flattened the area and started digging some trenches to allow the water to flow in. In my head, it made sense to do it this way, but I'm sure there's a better way to do your farms, so let me know down in the comments. I'm curious. I got a hoe and started planting my seeds, which I didn't have very much of, but it was enough to get us started. I crafted my flint and steel and opened the nether portal. Before I went into the nether, there was still some prep work that I wanted to get done, so I spent most of the next day farming, and I used some of the bones I got to make bone meal, which really helped speed up my farm. I did end up running out of seeds though, so I spent the next day trying to find some on the island, but I wasn't having much luck, so I went to the next island over, and I was also looking for animals during this time, but I wasn't having very much luck with that either. I ended up finding a boxes, like 3 or 4 of those guys. I didn't really think anything of it and was pretty much focused on getting these guys across the water. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw this little guy walk up, and I think he was the distraction. I think this was all part of their plan, because next thing I know, one of the foxes is attacking my chickens. By the time I got over there, they had already eaten one of my chickens. And then while I was focused on them, remember the guy that was staring at me? Yeah, he went after my other chicken. Luckily, he survived. I think the chicken was just absolutely devastated because he wasn't paying me any attention at all. Finally, I got him to start following me again. Then out of nowhere, all the foxes start running back over, and they're going after my chicken again. I was able to get the chicken across the water and onto the ice, but then the foxes started following us. And as soon as they got close, I ran up to him and tried to hit him away, and they were flying all over the place. But somehow, they still managed to get my chicken. Because he got my chicken, I had to do something I didn't really want to do. I had to put him down. So I went back home empty-handed, apart from the one chicken that got stolen from me. Day 12, I had the bright idea of building bridges in between each of the islands. My thought was this would make things a little bit easier next time I'm luring animals back home. I made sure to stay far away from the island with the foxes. I went back to the place I originally found the sheep at, and there were tons of wildlife here. So much so that it just made more sense to start breeding them over here. So that's what I did. I set up a fence, and I started luring them in one by one. Before you know it, I had a whole family of sheep in there. Now my chicken just needed a friend. So I went out, got attacked by some berries, and brought this chicken back over to the fence. While looking at my inventory, I saw something, and it wasn't a good something. It was another fox. I went on about my business and went to grab another sheep, and when I returned, the fox was inside of the fence and there were no chickens left behind. I couldn't believe it. Because I had left that block outside the fence, he was able to jump inside and destroy all of my chickens, including the babies. He killed the babies. So once again, I had to put him down. At least he didn't get the sheep, I guess. I found another chicken and brought him back so we could try and get this thing started again. I was getting ready to leave when these guys showed up. I knew what they were. I guess I didn't know why they were here. I thought that they were supposed to be guarding something.